Good morning. Welcome everybody. This is our 11:30 session here. We're going to talk a little bit about the Citrix IT Academy, but I want to get it to John here as quickly as possible to give you guys some hands-on experience on VDI and have John talk a little bit about what he's doing and Florida State College in Jacksonville is doing in regards to virtualization of our program and how they're using the various labs that he's going to demonstrate and you guys are going to get to work with here. So I'm Dan Myers. I'm the Citrix Worldwide Academic Program Manager based out of Denver, Colorado. John, Professor of Florida State College, Jacksonville, based out of Jacksonville. And so again, welcome to our presentation this morning. Agenda, again, I want to get right to John as quickly as possible. But I realized over the past couple years here doing presentations, Citrix isn't as well known as a company as other big IT companies, but it's been around the block quite a long time, and I think you'll be surprised at actually the different products that it offers. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Have a couple slides on the Citrix Academic Network and the IT Academy program, and then I'll turn it over to John and get you guys hands-on the systems. But Citrix, been around since late 1980s. It's about an 8,000 person company, $2.6 billion. So it's not really small, but it's not really big. It is the cloud solutions company that enables mobile work styles. It's kind of a new little marketing angle here with virtualization. And the products that Citrix has is quite a few to make all that happen. Mobile work styles. So you got your smartphones, you got your tablets, you've got your Macs, you've got your PCs, Android devices. So virtualization allows all of mobility to take place. And I'm not going to go through all the different products that a lot of people have heard or used about Citrix GoToMeeting, the competitor to Cisco WebEx, for collaboration. That's just one product line that we have. Citrix is both a hardware and a software company. Virtualization on the server side, desktop side, application side, certainly our flagship products. But there's a lot of other products that you might not be familiar with. So you're breaking down into categories here. Citrix is #1 desktop and application virtualization. #2 in the cloud networking. I'm going to talk briefly about our NetScaler product that a lot of people haven't even heard about. It's been around for a long time. A lot of big boys use it, and that makes us #2 in the cloud networking. And #1 in public clouds, #2 in web collaboration. That's our go-to products. GoToMeeting, GoToPC, etc. So quite an extensive product portfolio. It's not just desktop virtualization or not just GoToMeeting. So it allows us to do a number of neat things for companies as well as with the IT Academy program, as you're going to find out here in a moment. So mobile work styles. How many people have used, say, Citrix Receiver on a mobile device to access their school's applications or Windows desktop? So Bill has. Okay, that's one reason I wanted to talk the slide out here. You can go to iTunes, Apple Store, you can go to Android, Google Play. You can download Citrix Receiver as an application. That's kind of like the secret sauce that makes this mobility really work. So you download the Citrix Receiver on whatever device. It could be a Macintosh, it could be a Macintosh laptop. And then you can receive them applications from your company that allows you to access those corporate applications on a Mac, on your Android phone, in a taxi, at an airport, within the building itself for your business or your education institution. So encourage you to play around with that, or at least introduce it to your students. Have them download it and play around with it. It sets up a free little demonstration for them, but that's really kicks off kind of our flagship products of desktop virtualization, application virtualization. And has anybody ever heard of a company called ShareFile? Just out of curiosity. ShareFile is an enterprise-wide, think of it as an enterprise-wide Dropbox for virtualization. So Citrix bought that company because they want to be able to create this whole mobile workstation, whole mobile work style environment of applications, desktops, and the files that go along with it. So you guys have probably used Dropbox, which allows you to put PowerPoint presentations up in the cloud. Well, ShareFile is a Citrix product. Combined with our virtual desktops and our virtual applications would allow somebody within an organization then to get everything from the cloud on any device. Desktop, a specific application, and the files to go along with it. So a pretty comprehensive mobility solution. So the academic network. I was brought in a couple years ago to start the academic network because our partners and our customers greatly need the talent to help set up these environments for organizations. So I came from Cisco Networking Academy program, started this a couple years ago, and I'm going to give you a quick overview on what's available to you today. So the academic network is the umbrella name we give to a website with free resources, and kind of the flagship program within the academic network is the IT Academy program. If you have any questions at all, I've got some brochures on the corner. I've got some free mouse pads on the front tables there too, so feel free to take them out. Thank you, Vanna. Yep, there they are. So if you go to citrix.com/academic, this is the website. I'm not going to, there's all kinds of information here, program guides, that type of stuff. But I just want to focus on primarily on this slide here, the free resources. So if you go there, there's a resources tab, and there's all kinds of teaching and learning resources for you as instructors, for your students. Just kind of turn them loose. For research projects, there's software, there's free training classes, there's white papers, there's videos, there's these learning bites, I call them, on what is desktop virtualization. Use it however you want to use it, completely up to you. The other thing I want to point out that's very popular is this one right here. This link, it says set up a virtual computing demo. When you click on that link, you're going to get this dialog box. Just tell their students to go at it. It's going to ask here, this drop down here, to select a primary desktop, a tablet, and a mobile device. You need to have at least two of them to really make this work. But it will go ahead and set up a demonstration of what mobility is all about. So they'll have a computer, they'll have a tablet maybe, a smartphone, and they can get a Windows 7 desktop, a Windows XP desktop, Windows 8, doesn't really matter. Specific applications, Microsoft Word, so you get a sense for what is mobility to be able to get a desktop or applications or even data on any device at any time. So over a 4G cellular network, over a wireless, doesn't really matter. So just cut them loose on this. Or as an instructor, you can go ahead and demonstrate it yourself. The IT Academy program is a program that allows approved IT academies, so academic institutions, to offer our flagship products, our virtual desktop, virtual application, and virtual server courses to their students. So we provide the free software used for delivering the courses in the class. I had some people ask, can we use your software to virtualize our campus? Yes, you can, but it costs money to do that. So free software for delivering the classes to your students. The instructors get the free online courses with remote lab access so that they can go ahead and learn the course they're about to deliver as your institution is preparing for and setting up the lab for the students. One free exam voucher per course per instructor. So if your instructor only teaches one course, like the Zen App course, they have to pass the certification exam, they get one free voucher. If they teach all three, we give one free exam voucher per course. 60% discount for student exam vouchers for those students that opt to take the certification exam through Pearson VUE testing centers. Lab equipment requirements. Up to this point here in time, we required the IT academies to use their own equipment. And it's been a little bit of heartburn, I'll be honest with you, because the requirements are pretty steep if you look at the memory requirements. Right now, our courses require a workstation with 16 gigs of RAM per student. Zen Desktop 7 courses that we're rolling out through the IT academies later this quarter, they require 32 gigs, a workstation with 32 gigs of RAM per student workstation. So a little bit on the steep side. So we have step-by-step setup instructions that are available for setting up the environment. Our products are hypervisor agnostic, so if you want to use Microsoft Hyper-V, VMware, we have step-by-step instructions on setting up the workstations for either hypervisor. What I'm excited about is what John's going to show a little bit about. And we have been in discussions with Rich Weeks and NDG for a little bit of time. We do not have a formal agreement with them. I am optimistic that that will happen here fairly soon. But since NDG NetLab Plus is a lab development platform, we've had some IT academies in the program have ported the Zen Desktop and the Zen App course labs to the NetLab Plus environment. So that's where you're going to get a little bit of hands-on with a little bit later on, as well as another product, VDI in a box. John's going to explain a little bit about that. So it's not officially supported by NDG or Citrix. But the VMs will be made available here in Q1. Stay in touch with me if you're interested. You have to be an IT Academy to get access to these files. But the process here is we're doing a pilot right now. Florida State College in Jacksonville is one of the pilots for our Zen Desktop course. I have an IT Academy in the UK that's actually piloting the Zen App courses on the NetLab Plus. Moraine Valley Community College in Chicago area is going to be the distributor of those VMs if you are a Citrix IT Academy. So you'll be able to download those, go ahead and install them. There'll be installation guides as well, and you can deliver the classes in a different option rather than having the physical equipment. Coming in 2014, almost finished here, some exciting news. Again, because we're just not a single product company, we have a product called NetScaler. Google uses it, Amazon uses it. It's a network, it's a load balancing appliance. It's an application delivery controller. It's so popular that Cisco and Citrix have formed up a partnership. And now Cisco is reselling our NetScaler product through their channel. So we want to offer a NetScaler course to the academic community because we know there are a lot of folks who teach Cisco networking or networking in general and want a more advanced networking course, even above CCNP. So if you're interested, we're looking for some IT academies to pilot this here in the beginning of the year. Again, shoot me an email, dan.myers@citrix.com, and we can talk more about that. Also in 2014, we're doing upgrades to our flagship products, so Zen Desktop 7, our new Zen app, and a help desk course is going to be coming out that the IT academies will be able to offer as well. Why are we doing this? As I mentioned before, that you've got a great product line. We've got a lot of customers and a lot of partners that are looking for talent. We're somewhat stymied in growth as a company because great products again, but our partners and customers are saying, who do we hire to grab this information, or to who to hire to go and grab the talent to help us install, configure, and manage. So if you go to any one of monster.com and D.com here, you put in Citrix, you'll find out there are a lot of really good paying Citrix jobs out there. So it's a talent shortage, there's no question about it. With that, then, I'm going to turn it over to John Vale from Florida State College, and he's going to give us a little bit of hands-on on how you would deliver a VDI in a virtual environment to your students. Take it away, John.
Actually, I'm going to back up a couple of slides. Sure. That give you a little background on me. I attended a train-the-trainer session at FSCJ a couple summers ago and was introduced to Zen Desktop as a curriculum. Was really excited about it and knew that it was in the works for NDG to host a lab environment virtually, but since it was sort of in the works, I decided to do a backup plan and work on the physical environment that Dan was talking about, where it's a one-to-one. Students sit down at a workstation and would, through the network, attach to a Zen server. So each student would have their own Zen server that they would configure and work with through the labs on. We also used a spare box, put OpenFiler on it for an OpenFiler system, and then did very inexpensive iOmega network attached storage. So that's sort of how I got involved in the virtualization aspect, specifically with Citrix. Then, because I was so interested in virtualization, that I was invited to become the PI on an NSF grant. So it's called Innovate, and what we're doing is developing a curriculum that can be used anywhere, not only statewide, but across the country for virtualization. We're coming up with a curriculum, the faculty training, the lab curriculum, the lab infrastructure, and we're also trying to get the high school students, trying to get them while they're young. So we're introducing this to the high school students, and the VDI in a box was part of that. So we developed the coursework and then the lab curriculum for VDI in a box specifically to teach high school students in our summer, basically summer camps for high school students. We did 22 students, and the other 4 colleges that are part of this grant as well did another 44, I believe. So the curriculum is developed to do to teach virtualization, and it's aligned with 5 industry certifications, 2 with Citrix, 2 with VMware, and 1 with EMC. The students would receive 64 hours to get credit, and why it's important is that the students, while they're taking these classes, are also eligible for financial aid. So what else we're doing? We collaborate with the other colleges. We help with the trainer sessions, and then we disseminate through the ATC. I'm sorry, the ATE in Collins College. So these are some of our grant partners on the NSF grant. It's also tied into a Department of Labor grant for cyber technology and introducing cyber technicians. So we're trying to pony off what we're doing with this NSF grant into other things as well. So, like I said, we did a summer camp. We had Philip Seeley came up with the curriculum and came up with an interactive PDF as well as labs behind NetLab. So today what we're going to do mostly is step through the interactive labs, which are a great way to sort of show what the gotchas are in the lab. Give them the documentation for them to step through the labs. So not only do they have the username and passwords, but it sort of steps them through, and then you can show the labs where you create a template. So instead of sitting for 20 to 40 minutes while the template's being created, the lab shows you exactly what's going on. So we partnered up with Citrix as well as VMware and EMC to get the curriculum from them and their labs and all that to sort of present this material to the college and high school students. So part of that is pretty amazing is if you sit down and break down what it's worth. For Citrix alone, the curriculum and lab exercises came out at about $5 grand per student, and the licenses, the instructor training, and all that came out to about $100,000 per year as an IT academy. So this is where we're going to get started with the interactive PDFs. These are available on this wiki spaces, so you can type that into your browser. Go ahead and get started. If you want more questions or have more questions or want more information, basically here's a really good Citrix resource that gives you some how-tos and videos on VDI in a box. So let's see if this is interactive. It does. So Philip Seeley came up with the curriculum. I have to give him a lot of credit and a lot of props for coming up with this. And he used a PDF product, an Adobe product that allows for interactive. So this very first manual basically is an overview. It also gives you all the usernames, passwords, and all of that. This is our NetLab environment. So I have up here some sheets of paper that you guys are welcome to put your name, contact information, and then check whether you'd like more information on the Citrix Academy, the VDI in a box class, receiving the lab files for the VDI in a box, how to create a college credit certificate, and then if you're interested in the summer working connections. I will collect those at the end. I'll collate those. I'll share that information with Dan as well. But the VDI in a box files are very, very big. So if you're interested, we won't support that, but we will make them available. And then we would just like that if you do use those, that any improvements you make, any documentation you do for the installation, you would share with us that information. So as Dan had said, the NetLab environment is still a work in progress. So we are working with Citrix, we worked with NDG. Fox Hill actually has this working for the Zen desktop, I'm sorry, the Zen app class. And we're on a WebEx with Dan and the guys down at Fox Hill, and they showed us what they had done and what they were doing, and they're sharing that through a collaborative environment. So we have a lab manager who's working with that, and it hasn't worked all the tweaks out because our first class is going to be the Zen desktop, not the Zen app. So he started working on that, but since the class didn't start until March, he got partway through, got pulled off to do other things, so we're sort of in the middle. I will do a demo to show you sort of where we are with that, and I will give you my information, my contact information, if you want to talk about how you guys can implement that as well. So it's pretty exciting. So this is that first document that is in that wiki spaces and tells you about what's going on with each lab, sort of an overview, gives you some of the passwords, I believe for lab 3, you need the username and password. So that's in this document. It's also in the lab materials as well. So how do I minimize the Word document?
You would just go to, well, you would just go over it, I think. Right? Yeah.
Just change screens?
Yeah, just change it. Yeah, I don't really know where. That do it for us.
Yeah, I don't have the Alt tab.
What do you want me to watch?
So the taskbar at the bottom.
I don't know where it went.
Maybe you can move that. Nope.
Where the heck did it go? Honestly, I don't know.
Well, John's bringing this up here. The VDI in a box product from Citrix is a company that started a couple of years ago.
Okay.
It is a real scalable VDI, that's what I'll VDI box. It's a VDI product for SMB market, small medium-sized businesses. The Zen app and Zen desktop are kind of enterprise class products. The VDI in the box, they found out, and is very good introduction to virtualization platform for high school students and also at the college level too. If you're looking for introduction to virtualization, just what it is, because it talks about storage requirements, talks about virtual desktops and virtual applications. It's highly scalable, but it's all kind of contained in a box. Easy to start off with, and they can build and scale it up from there. And so they developed this for high school networking campus convention. It was so popular, my Ernie Friend, John's manager, it was so popular, the state of Florida is funding 20 of the high school summer camps next summer. So they did 6 this past summer. So they're doing 20 using this VDI in the box as an introduction to virtualization.
All right, so we'll start. Desktop. I apologize for the technical difficulties. All right, so if you go to the wiki spaces, is anybody having a hard time getting to the wiki spaces? It's simplified. vdi.wikispaces.com/summercamp. It's kind of hard to see. So it's simplified vdi.wikispaces.com/summercamp. Everybody there? Not there? Not quite there yet? Okay, so I just showed you the very first document, the RTF, and I'm just going to step you through these interactive PDFs. So now that you guys have this URL, you are welcome to use this however you want. Just make sure you give Philip a little bit of credit. He spent a lot of time coming up with this. And these are nice because you can see there's this, it's a slideshow type environment, so you can pause it as you're using this for instruction. You can put this out there for your students to use on their own as they're going to go in and go into the NetLab environment. And the other thing I'll talk about is we will make our NetLab environment for this class available for you guys. Just contact Dan, give us your student information, we'll create pods for them, and then you guys can go in and use our NetLab environment to teach the VDI in a box class. We haven't gotten the Zen app or the Zen desktop working like we'd like it yet, so we're not sort of porting that out. But for right now, if you want to use the VDI in a box, please help yourself. Just contact Dan, and then we'll make it happen. So here you can see it sort of steps you through, and it shows you some of the got-to. So Phillips showed you what you have to do. You have to check the Java. So you start the remote access test. Click on the pop-ups when you're getting those pop-ups up. So it's a really good way to sort of some of those students that aren't real tech savvy who are taking this class can actually use this as a way to get real comfortable and real familiar just getting into the NetLab environment. And again, it's nice because you can just make it go faster or slower. So here you can see that if your system passes, you then would go into schedule, which would be the next. So we go back. All right, so then you would do the next. Is basically just steps them through how to do the lab reservation. So it walks you through. It tells you how to sign in. Then you can go in and click on the scheduler. It's interactive, which is pretty neat. I've not used Captivate before, but it's a pretty nice tool. So then you would select your class, and then you would select your lab. So how many are you guys are familiar with the NetLab environment? A couple. So, I thought it was pretty intuitive, but I have had students that didn't understand these steps. So this is actually a nice way to give them something that sort of walks them through that. The other thing they sort of get caught with, if they don't click close enough to that red line, it starts at the next half hour, and then they say, why can't I get into the lab? Well, you started it from 1:30, not 1 o'clock for right now. Click OK.
Stay away from the area and do we need to be alarmed?
It makes you want to do the second grade thing and come on.
Yeah.
I can't quite hear what they're saying.
I think it's
Just a test. Okay, so that was the second interactive PDF. And then here it shows you how to start your access. This is where you really start getting into the actual labs themselves. So here it shows you the topology for our VDI in a box environment. So for those of you that think this is a little bit not as advanced as you like, if you want, we can get those of you that want to get into our NetLab, where we have our VDI in a box. I've set up 20 student accounts where you guys can log in and do that. Would you like to do that while we're stepping through this as well? Does anybody want to get into that? Or do you want to step through more of these? Want to just step through these? You guys ready for lunch? All right. So we'll just continue on with this then. So this basically, it's a very simplistic NetLab environment. There's two machines, the client and then the server, or the ESXi host. which we've put our VDI in a box in. Again, it just steps you through what you have to do to make sure that you can get into the VM. So here it's kind of dark up there, but you can see that there's a static address in the 10.1.1 range. And it says you're now in that Win 7 machine. You type in your password, which is in that documentation. And here, I believe it's ESXi, lowercase I, 5.1. And then that gets you in.
For the password?
For the password. But again, that's in that, that first RTF documentation. So that's the first lab where they're actually in there and then they're connecting. Now, we did this more geared for people that have no idea what virtualization is and may have very limited experience with technology. So if it seems pretty basic, it was designed to be that way. And what Philip was doing with this was showing that you are in a virtual environment, which makes it tough enough, but that you are in this through a virtual environment. So this is a virtual screen. So you're accessing a physical machine through some virtualization layers. Okay. And then here, it's a lab for vSphere management. So once you're in, it gives you some instructions, tells you what you're doing, tells what network you're on. So he's giving them instructions on networking, telling them about what networking is, why it's important. Here again, you've got your username and your password when you're in the environment. So you can set it up differently, but of course you want to change this a little bit. So it talks about the security alerts you get, why it might not work. It talks about the DHCP server. So in that lab, we actually have in our ESXi server those 3 VMs are already pre-configured. And then from that, one of the labs is to create more virtual machines, make a template, and then clone those machines from there. So basically, it's stepping you through the lab, shows you that you've copied the VM, and how you turn on the VM within the vCenter. All right, so you can see that you're actually in the VM within this console, but then Philip has them go ahead and console in. And then you want to verify that you can communicate. So it talks again about, again, this might be for people with no networking background or technical background at all. So it brings up a command prompt environment and has them ping those other machines to show that they are actually communicating within that environment. Of course, the pings are successful. And then you go back into the vSphere environment, and then you can see what your IP address is. And of course, you ping that address to see you have connectivity. And then summarization of what they've accomplished in that lab. So this tells them how they're going to communicate with the management server.
You're in lab 5, one?
I believe so, yes. So then you're using a web browser to get in. And then, of course, warning you about the security warning box that you come up. So then you want to go ahead and say you're going to continue. And he talks a little bit in the labs about why those certificates are there, why they're important, and why you may or may not want to continue on. So here you can see you're logging in through the receiver. And here's your username and admin password. So the username is VDI, admin, password. Because I'm not really sure where you came up with that password from. So then it shows you how you can build your desktop infrastructure. So basically, these labs are stepping them through the VDI in a box in an interactive PDF environment. Then actually goes in through the NetLab and does the same things and has them do it.
Visa was the name of the product before Citrix bought.
Oh, okay. So Philip knew that and I didn't. All right, so that's the end of that. All right, so then the rest of these are going in and finishing up the rest of the labs. So do you want to keep going with those or do you want to go right into the NetLab environment? You guys want to get in? Play hands-on? All right, so it's netlab01.fscj.edu. All right, your username is going to be MPICT, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The password to get in will be capital P A S S W O R D. And then when you get in, it's going to ask you to change your password.
All caps?
All caps, yep. Yeah, and the username is case sensitive. Oh, do we not have Java on these?
No Java. Get it.
Oh, it says we have the recommended version.
Yeah. You must have it around.
And you do have to do this check. If you bypass the check, it'll let you in, but it won't let you do the lab. After a while. Let's try this again. All right, so who's not to this screen? Or has gotten past this screen? Okay.
Reinstalling Java here.
All you have to do is there's a password, capital P, password.
Oh, the word password is 7?
Well, I just ran it.
I picked 13 and
And it is, has to be on password. All right, so give yourself your passwords. Something you remember. Now, those of you who haven't been in a NetLab environment, it's nice because your students, if they forget their password, there's a place you can go into and just reset the password for them. Give them a new password, and then when they log in, again, they'll have to do this again. And that's every semester I've got up to 5 students today. Need that help. No. I'll give you so far. I'll hold it stop. Who else is not in?
I'm not in, but I'll just watch because I did the shop inside.
Okay.
Finish the step on it and go back to the right spot.
I got about 5 minutes. Okay. Oh, nice. All right, as you guys are in there, I do know, I don't even remember the administrator password. Okay, and then it takes a minute or two, because what it's doing is it's spinning up the labs. And the first time you go in, it goes through all that. Then you have to do your remote access test. So we went into the class, we'll go getting started. Click next to the red line. Now when Philip set this up, I gave each one of you a pod, but because he created these pods for the default community, your students will see all of those. So when you set this up, it's best to create just a pod for them. Otherwise, they'll have scheduling issues. And two will try to get into the first one. So I'm going to go way to the right. Make sure I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. I'm just going to take the last one. And you can see I click close enough where I got down, and then it goes to Eastern time. And I'm done. I'm going to enter the lab. And then now the NetLab is actually spinning up those VMs in that ESXi server and getting all these started. And depending upon how big the environment is, can be a minute to a couple of minutes. When I was getting on last night, it took about 2 minutes for me to actually get in, see the pod, and then start working through them. So this is the environment you guys will have access to if you'd like to. So please, on your way out, stop and give us your contact information and let us know that you'd like to have access to it. And then put you in contact with Dan and make that happen for you all. So while this is waiting to come up, do you guys have any questions?